All right, good morning. Happy Tuesday and one day belated President's Day as well. You can see the agenda. We've got about 5 items with ESSER. We've got some legislative updates, our new accreditation system, the MAST Summit, unrolling where we're going to be next year with all of our students participating in a very close to teaching and learning opportunity with the through-year assessment. And then Zach is going to close us up with an understanding of the Indian Education for All conference that's going to be held in Billings. So we'll just jump into this. Welcome, everyone. Wendy, share with us where we are with ESSER. And we've got a tight window because the third bucket is going to be expended here come the end of September. But if you could share with us where we are and how the schools are utilizing these precious federal dollars, please.
Thank you, Superintendent, and thank you everyone for joining today's meeting. ESSER, as everyone knows, is on the forefront, both on the closing out, but also just kind of getting out what districts are spending their funding on. And just as an overview, some of the things that we're working on right now is we do have the self-assessment monitoring document that is out there, and school districts are all filling in. It's a rather large Excel, but it's primarily yes and no answers as to how they have been processing ESSER funds. It's a compliance that we have from the Department of Education to monitor districts. So that has gone out. Districts have been continuing to fill that out. And then in addition to that, the data collection, which is going to be more a view of how have you spent the funds. So the self-assessment is how did you process? The data collection is how have you spent them, in what categories? And that will happen the first 2 weeks in April. We're getting prepared for that. We have had a review committee review the format. It will be in Excel again. And very simple instructions. They're just going to be filling in a bright blue section. And so that should be a pretty straightforward process, although it still takes some time to fill that out. Additionally, we also have on the ESSER front still the summer school funding that's available. It's under the extended and expanded learning opportunities. We've had some really good after-school programming pull into those grants with like theaters and camps throughout the state. Some happened in December, some are happening again this spring, and then we anticipate happening more in the summer. And those can be, again, for math or reading. They're very targeted toward those areas, and then we'll be looking at adding social emotional components to them as well. Of course, theater often brings that in. So some really good opportunities. We have a accordion, a tab on our website that has stories. You're welcome to take a look at some of those. We've got some photos, and we'll continue to update those as we go forward. The ESSER team is available for anybody who has any questions, so don't hesitate to share out with entities that you know that they can contact us with questions. We're in Zoom and on the phone all the time helping districts allocate the funds. Go ahead and spend those out because they are amendable. So districts who have money that they still have in 3 to spend, they can change the direction of how those funds are spent, and that is occurring. We do have a lot of capital expenditure projects that are in the works. We anticipate all of those being finished by the September 30th deadline. We do not anticipate any liquidations, extensions. However, there is on our website the ability to look into that if the district wants to. I think for the most part, districts are saying, let's go ahead and finish this out and be done. So we're trying to help them do that. Thank you, Superintendent. And if there are any questions.
Thank you, Wendy. Brian, if you would please, if you could share the screen with where our website is so that all could see how to find it on our website. We've got an annoying clock that is the deadline drop down for the data collection, but it's also got some great resources for everyone that's out into the field or for anyone that's on this call. So just take a few minutes or seconds, and there we go. So you can go to the left side, yep, there we go. Click ESSER on our front page. And there we have it. So there's that annoying clock that we have with the ESSER data collection. But there's so many things that are part that we have built out. And I'm really proud of our Montana team. Our Montana team is more of a relationship based with our schools, over 100 districts across our state of varying opportunities. So we want to make sure that anything that they have, they can come to our site. Brian, if you could scroll down just a little bit more. Of course, you know, where would government be if we didn't have a couple graphs, for sure. But we do have some great pull downs as well, a little bit further. Thank you, Brian. Excellent. And there it is right there. And you can see that 48% of our 400 school districts then have pulled down the last remaining aspect of it. And very, very pleased that schools are being very responsible. We are a local control state. I like to use the word local accountable state. So our team working then to make sure that our very rurals, as well as our very frontier schools, are recognizing the accountability factor of it. Pull down just a little bit further. Lots of things to get to there. And then this pull down. Hit the district ESSER stories, if you could, Brian, second tab. This is fun. And hit that, yep, hit that button, perfect. Basically, what we did, and there are multiple that go through here, but this is through Great Falls, and it's talking about not just the dollar amount or the number of things. It's a story and a narrative of how the federal dollars were being spent. And I think that is really important that Montana does better than anyone. It's not just a government agency that is being passed through to another government school. Look at the children, look at what we have here. The value of the ESSER money, I believe, and we know it's going away, has really impacted children and in multiple ways. And that's the storybook that Wendy and her team have created. And we're not done yet putting other chapters into this book, but would love to have more. This one is great. This is target, range, and outdoor learning environment. So just a lot of fun things. But our website, yes, there's a lot of things on there, but would really like to have anybody go in and take a look to see what we have. And if you have stories that you would like to add, please reach to Brian O'Leary or to Wendy's team, and we'll be more than happy to showcase the good work that has occurred with these federal dollars. So thank you. Thank you, Wendy. Any other questions on ESSER? Wonderful. Let's go ahead to the next one. It's kind of like a 3 bulleted with some legislative implementation. Thank you. So take it away, Christy.
Thank you, Superintendent. Good morning, everyone. And we are going to start off talking about the Education Savings Account and our implementation of that new legislation. We have a parent steering committee. They met for their second time on February 12th, just last week. And during this meeting, the committee took time to review other states' web pages for information on how other states have implemented and are implementing this type of savings account. Of course, Montana's is unique. Every state has their sort of unique perspective and implementation of these type of savings accounts. But it's very helpful. There are states who have done this for years already, and there's really helpful information that the steering committee was able to look at to find ease of access for parents and implementation points for us to consider going forward as we implement this new legislation here. There was a lawsuit brought against this bill a couple of weeks ago. Our legal department is keeping an eye on that. Right now, it's business as usual for us here at the OPI, so we're going forward. But our parent steering committee had a visit with one of our legal staff attorneys here, gave some information about that. Our next steps for the Education Savings Account will be creating an application in eGrants. We'll be creating a handbook for families. We'll be preparing parent contracts, and we will plan to have applications open in May.
Excellent. I just want to note, up on the screen, you see that this is the early literacy.
Yes.
Just to walk back a little bit, the early literacy is not in court. I know the slide definitely
Correct.
have
Yes.
gotten a little bit.
Jumped.
It's education savings account, but we're still working forward on that. wanting
Yes.
to be ready day one, when, if indeed it does come out of court or however it happens. We want to just make sure that implementation stays on track with that. But the education savings account is the one in court. But let's move on to the targeted early literacy one.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And we have two early literacy specialists that are working full-time on this legislation, Kimberly and Jackie, and they've been working hard to prepare guidance to share out with schools so schools understand the options. And as a reminder, there are three targeted intervention programs outlined in this bill. There's a classroom-based program, there's a Jumpstart program, which is a summer program, and there's a home-based program. Right now we have an RFP getting ready to head over to SPB. It's actually over in our Department of Administration, waiting to go out for this particular home-based program. So that is, we will be keeping you up to date on that progress, but we've got that to the point where it is ready to go. We are also working and answering a lot of questions from schools about implementing the Jumpstart program this summer. Due to the legislative effective date, it's effective July the 1st. So any summer programming this summer to count for A and B for next year does need to start on or after July the 1st, just for this summer only. We've had a lot of questions about that. I think we've cleared that up, but I just wanted to share that we're still answering some questions about that. Also, if you want to go to the next slide, Brian. The Board of Public Education recently approved their evaluation methodologies and the evaluation tools. They've got a list of tools, and these are the skill sets that we'll be looking for to determine eligibility. So schools this April, May, and June will be evaluating students for eligibility for this program per parent request. These are those skills that they would be looking for and assessing. And you can see on our homepage, we have an early literacy targeted intervention page. And within that list of helpful resources, you can find those recommended tools that the board has identified that would actually give schools the important information for eligibility for these students. So there are options for schools to choose from. Schools may also choose to use their own evaluation methodology, but then they sort of need to provide how that, give the evidence that it does actually give the information. So the list of approved tools I find very helpful for schools in determining eligibility. In addition, the Board of Public Education, if you go to the next slide, Brian, they're updating the early learning content standards. And I just wanted you to know that that was out for public comment right now on the Board of Public Ed's website. This is a sample for you to see what changes have happened. The underlines are new information. Strikeouts are information that they're removing in these recommendations. And there are, they have quite a few standards that they are updating in these early literacy content standards. And so if you wanted to go and take a closer look, you could do that there. And then the last thing we've prepared here, the next slide, Brian, for these early literacy targeted interventions. I think back one more. Sorry, Brian. Yeah. We've prepared an interest survey just to gather information from schools on which schools may be interested in and which programs they're planning to implement for this early literacy targeted intervention. And right now we've had a handful of schools participating in the survey, and it looks like the classroom-based is the most anticipated program right now. Jumpstart and home-based are also very interested. This is available on our website, this survey, and as well, when schools are submitting their accreditation at the end of March, when they're doing submitting their information there, this survey link will also be there for them to select their interest in this. And it's just for the OPI to know which schools are interested and how we can support and provide professional learning around this.
Thank you. Christy, let me just stop you before you get to the next one. I know we've got Steve White on, and I believe, with the three-pronged approach and having choice being available for homeschool parents as well, however that early literacy intervention can occur. Steve, if you would like to share that survey with any members that you have in your communities, we would be grateful so that we really can recognize where we need to be and where we need to serve. Any thoughts on that, Steve?
No, but thank you very much, Superintendent, for bringing that up. I certainly will do that, and I'll get the word out on that. But I appreciate that. I've had a few questions on this, and essentially, the response I've had given is just, get a hold of OPI
Mhm.
and ask the questions to you guys. And then I think that I haven't heard back from anybody, so I assume people have done that. But I will take a look at the survey and get the link out.
I appreciate that. And again, I applaud the legislature. This is not pre-K. This is a targeted intervention. And we know that in that one size fits all test, that reading right now is being challenged. And it's not just saying because of the pandemic, there has been a downward trend. Paired then, of course, with the opening of our reading standards, recognizing early literacy has been very important part of the negotiating rulemaking committee. And then the other aspect is with the, which you'll be hearing a little bit later in this agenda, is the new assessment that Montana, first in the nation, is working through with through year, with small little testlets to be able to understand math and reading. Early literacy is targeted to third grade, but our assessments go from third grade on to eighth grade and then a test in high school. But what the MAST test will do, our new assessment, will also be a measure to see if the targeted literacy interventions that we're putting into play this coming school year and this summer will have any impact. So we're watching all of these moving parts, but they all are in great alignment. Christy, thank you. Any other questions on early literacy? Perfect. Christy, one more to go?
Yes, we have public charters next. And you can see here, there were 19 public charter schools approved by the Board of Public Education at their January meeting, and they are all within existing districts here in Montana. The Board of Public Education is drafting contracts, and we're working closely with the Board of Public Education right now to determine the school opening procedures so that we get the schools in, get the proper formulas and finance and programmatic implementation ready to go for these schools. So we'll be reaching out to these schools with emails, information. Our website also will be up to date with information, helpful information on what the next steps are once they sign those contracts with the Board of Public Education. So we're working closely, like I said, with the board to make this happen and keeping information coming very soon. And we will have more information as we go, and we'll keep you up to date on that as well.
Excellent. And in our parent meeting that we do every month, we're going to be discussing the charter discussion that the board has just completed and looking for a great community, how do I want to say, a community, I don't want to use the word discussion too much, but a back and forth to have them recognize what's happening within their communities. And that will be happening then on the 28th, and more information will be flowing from us for that.
Absolutely. And just their community choice schools. Again, there's a community choice schools commission. They meet monthly. They had theirs recently, about 2 weeks ago, they had their last meeting. The March meeting date is still to be determined, but you can find that information. You can always watch it on the MPAN system, and you can find information about their recordings, their notes, their minutes at the Board of Public Education as well. For the Community Choice Schools Commission. And I think that's it if there's any questions for me.
Yeah, I have a question. This is Steve White. Well, the list that you had on the previous screen, was that the charter schools under HB 549?
Yes.
Okay, and is that the complete list, or are there more? Because I've actually been kind of looking for the list of all of the schools that have been maybe applied, and I see those are approved. But is that the complete list?
Yes, Steve, there were about 25 that applied and there were 19 approved. So you're correct. There were some other applications that weren't approved at this time, the Board of Public Education. Yep.
So the ones that are not approved, are they tweaking them to come back and ask to be approved, or is this it? I mean, is there, and also, is there a deadline or something that will there be more on this list?
Yes, Steve, the Board of Public Education will open applications again in June. And so there will be another possibility for any school interested to apply further for this. Absolutely.
Okay, and then does OPI, does your website, or do you have like a list of all of these charter schools and the contacts and you can kind of assume where they're at because it has the city in there, but I didn't know if you're going to have like a complete list so that you could people could learn something about each one of them.
They are listed on the Board of Public Education's website, and I just saw it popped into the chat there, so you can find that list there. And as we're populating ours, we will have information on ours as well, but their applications are all published on the Board of Public Education's website, so you can see that information.
Okay, perfect. And then one last question, if I may. On HB 562, do you have any further information as to the progress of the lawsuit?
No, we're still on hold. And again, our legal team is keeping an eye on that. I'm not sure when the next event is going to be happening in the courts for that, but I think it's still a little ways out. So the commission is able to meet and prepare, but that's all we're able to do right now.
Super. Thank you very much for letting me ask some questions.
Excellent. And let's go ahead. Trish, I don't mean to call you out. I know that you're part of this public charter schools, or excuse me, the community choice charter. Anything that you can add to Steve White's question regarding where it might be? Thanks, Trish.
Sure. I apologize. My dog might bark. So, no, you guys, Christy covered it perfectly. We are still in discovery in the lawsuit, and that is expected to go until July 15th, at which point the judge will take a look at everything that's been turned in. And then also regarding our meetings, we actually have a meeting tomorrow, and it's fully webinar tomorrow from 10 to 12:30. And so you will be able to find, you can watch that on the Board of Public Education YouTube channel, which you can get to from their site. Go to charter schools, then community choice schools, and it'll be right there. And a lot of people on this call have already been sent a Zoom link, but if you would like a Zoom link, you could just email the BPE directly, or you could email me directly at trish.kamish@gmail.com, and I'm happy to send that out to anyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Angela, I see you have your hand up.
Good morning, Madam Superintendent. Good morning, everybody. The Montana University system, was watching the charter school proposals. Very pleased with the list that did ultimately get approved this round. One of the things that we see are a lot of opportunities for these schools in particular to plug into our campuses in strategic ways. Some of them reference early college models. Some of them reference that in workforce credentials that students could earn. And so we've already pulled our campuses together on this front to just make sure that we are ready when the calls come in from this list, and in the future from those that might be approved, to grow and to continue to strengthen our partnerships with our K-12 folks across the state. We just see that this is a real good place for us to be able to plug in. And I just wanted folks on the call to know that if they should get questions about what this might mean for those partnerships, to please reach out to me. I'm happy to be a point of contact on that front. So thanks so much, Madam Superintendent.
Thank you, Angela. And I appreciate the word partnership. That is something that we have done in more of a P20 look. And as new opportunities come into education, we need to make sure that we continue that strong partnership. Any other questions for Christy and legislative updates? Great. Let's go ahead and move on then. We have our new accreditation system. So Crystal Andrews.
I am here. Good morning, Superintendent.
Good morning.
I do not have a PowerPoint, but if I could share my screen, Brian, I will. Oh, good morning. Is it not my internet? Well, I'm good, but is my internet not good?
You're good.
Okay. I'm gonna. Oh boy. Okay. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
Crystal?
thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Wonderful. And everyone that's attending here, all the materials will be going out afterwards. So anything that Crystal speaks about, or Christy or Zach or anyone that is here, and the other Crystal that we have about our mass discussion will come out to everyone that's in attendance, and everybody that's on the rolls will be able to get any of these information pieces.
Okay, I apologize for my internet issues, but I am here. Good morning, and I am here to share the new accreditation system that went live on January 31st. So we're about 3 weeks in. My team is diligently starting this week working with districts on work sessions. So they every hour have a district signed up to work through the accreditation platform, go over any questions, anything they want to share with the team to say, does this seem to fit what you're looking for here? Just that, really great interaction, just, as it is brand new to us all, just having that time to feel comfortable with what they're submitting. So what I have to show you today is how districts are accessing the new accreditation system. What they will go, the district superintendent designees, county superintendents, and school principals will get this in their Teach Montana system, this message here, where it's labeled 13124. The message talks about this accreditation system and process. They can click on both the district assurance standards page, and I'll do that in just a second, the school assurance standards page, the due date, just some good helpful tips, a tutorial, our website link, anything that we can provide to hopefully help with this process. But real quick, I will show you, hopefully it switches over to our what the system looks like for this first year one. So this is the district assurance page. Districts will put in their information. If they have more than one school at the district level, they do not need to duplicate efforts. They're able to put, so Augusta Elementary and Augusta High could put both. So then they don't have to submit 2 times. They can do it just 1 time and just select both of their schools, which is a great feature. These are all of the questions that I've brought to this group and to all of our partners as to what this will look like. So there's no surprises. These questions have been out to the public since October 1st when we released the criterion reference guide. So they match perfectly. They just look really nice in this new upgraded system where they're putting written evidence. They're uploading evidence pieces that all is reflected within that criterion reference guide, which is also found on that first page that they can find. Excuse me. And, a lot of the times districts are asking, well, what if we have an upload piece that really explains everything? And we're saying, you don't have to write us a novel by any means. Just say, please see the first attachment, page 2. And, so then my team, when they're going to look at the submissions, they'll be able to find that information. So those are the kind of questions we're getting just because it is really different. We're looking at a rubric-based system of scoring. And so that is a shift, and that's why we're really trying to be open, available to our school districts to really provide as much professional development, teamwork, and help with what we're expecting here. So I'm not going to go through the questions. Like I said, these are the exact same questions that districts have had. And then we do still have assurance pieces, and that's what they're used to seeing in the past, just that check, yes, no box. It's referencing what rules. And then the submit button is down after the EFA piece, which was added at both the district and school level. So that's an important new piece to our accreditation system. And the submit is at the bottom. So there is a district level page. Like I said, that's what this is. And if I go back, there is the school level. It's school level is much shorter. It's looking just at our, gosh, my internet. It's feeling a long weekend, I think. Sorry. It's just looking at our student learning outcomes at the middle and elementary school, and then college and career readiness at high school. a lot of information, and this is a really great feature. Districts are not having to put in any of our what I call the old accreditation stuff, you know, the assignments of teachers load and class size. They've already put all that information into the Infinite Campus system. What we're going to do into this accreditation system through our data modernization is pulling over from Infinite Campus into this platform. So districts do not need to touch that data again. They've already done their part. District clerks have done their part and do not need to repeat that effort. So that'll be pulled into this report and we'll be able to view it in this system. Like I said, we are providing, and this is our OPI webpage. We are providing, well, we've provided a lot of sessions that are recorded and found here, but what I really just want to end on here is that we are offering all-day work sessions. This week, we are completely full, but we're offering them again the first full week of March 4th through 8th. We have lots of sessions still open there. The sign up is right here. We are going on a little bit of a roadshow next week, my team and I. So we have a full house in Billings. We have a huge group, so we're excited for that. Missoula has a nice group in Havre as well. So we are available though. If there's a time that doesn't work for a district and any of these opportunities here, we've told them that just reach out. We are available and we'll set up a time with them so that they feel comfortable with coming down to March 29th, and that is what I have today.
Thank you. Any questions you might have for Crystal? And one of the big things that I want to say is that we do not want to overburden any school district. I know I have rural schools on, and I don't necessarily want to put you on the spot, but hopefully that the new accreditation system, the way that we are asking questions, the way that is done by rule, that we are in a partnership and we are here to help any rural school. I know there is a challenge with capacities. So if there's anything that anybody that here is representing rural schools, please, now is the time to ask any questions or get on the phone with Crystal, and she'll be more than happy to help and walk through any school leader. Great. Well, let's go through to the next one. Another Crystal, different alphabet letter, but Crystal's going to speak about our through-year assessment. Again, Montana is leading the way. We've got such a great team, but we can't do this without teachers because this is a classroom model assessment to recognize successive learning and teaching immediately. So with that, Crystal?
Good morning and thank you, Superintendent. Brian, if I could share my screen, thank you. I have put the registration link for our MAST Summit in the chat. I will also show how to get there on the website, but I've been tasked with doing a little advertising for our MAST Summit, which our team has been working feverishly in preparing and planning, which will be next Tuesday, a week from today, February 27th. So I just wanted to share the vision, the model, the agenda, and help provide support for any districts that might be looking to register if they have not already. So we will begin the day with a welcome from our superintendent, which we're excited to hear from her. And then here are the outcomes of the summit. So we know as we move full statewide implementation next school year that we needed to not only help communicate and provide districts and stakeholders with the understanding of why Montana has moved to a through-year model, but then also provide technical support. So we're excited in the format and the layout of this summit, which is a full-day summit, that there really are the foundational pieces and the visionary pieces early on in the day, but then also the technical support for districts, regardless of where they are in this model. We know that we have about a third of our students currently participating in the through-year pilot in year 2. During the 5th and final testing window, April 15th through May 10th, we will have another set of students who will be performing and participating in the Form B model and more of a summative approach during this pilot year. And then next year, as I mentioned, moving statewide. So our plan is to provide the support for all districts, regardless of where they are in their current level of participation, to help them either strengthen their current participation or begin planning and preparing for either later on this spring or next fall. Here's the agenda for the summit. Notice it is a full day summit. We have some keynote speakers who I'll mention here after looking at the agenda. Some implementation sessions for about 2 hours. And again, those will be aligned for districts based on their current understanding and implementation of MAST. We're excited for some role-alike sessions in the afternoon after lunch. So we have our OPI team, our New Meridian testing vendor team, and then some folks around the state who are part of our external focus group participating and really personalizing this agenda and this summit to the needs of different folks in the field who will be responsible for carrying out the through-year model next year. And then we're real excited for the panel. We have Jen Eswine from the Comp Center, who will be facilitating our panel with, again, some stakeholders from around the state as to their current experience in MAST and what they're looking at and excited for moving forward. And then our 3 keynote speakers that we have joining us next week, we have Khalid Ismail from Education First. If you remember, they are the agency that helps support our first year of funding for our MAST pilot. We have Nathan Dady from the Center of Assessment. Him and his team worked on our state's theory of action back before this even began. And they've been integral in the work that we have been doing to develop and implement a through-year model. And then Arthur Vanderveen, who is the CEO of New Meridian, will also be presenting and talking about their partnership with the state of Montana and really, as the superintendent had mentioned, leading the state or leading the nation in what a through-year model is. So if this sounds of interest, of something that would be beneficial for your time and effort next Tuesday, I strongly encourage you to attend and register. The registration will include an email that will provide the attendance link, as we're using the Hopin platform. So we can provide this in a virtual format, but very similar to what you would experience in a real in-person session, where we will have a stage, some actual breakout groups, interactions with those who are participating. I do want to just share one more thing. Hopefully you see my screen. This is a registration page. If you go to the OPI website for MAST, here is the link also to get to register for the summit. It will take you to this page, and the registration is very simple: name, email, and I think that's it to hit submit. And then you will see here again, if you want a more detailed explanation of MAST, of the summit, why the state is moving in this direction, and then the schedule highlights are all available on this page. So right now we have about 145 as of this morning folks registered to attend, and we are able and capable to have more join us. So looking forward to having you joining us.
Thank you. Any questions for Crystal? Perfect. So this is our second year of our pilot. The first year we had 5,000 students. This year we have over 20,000, and the entire element of 3rd grade through 8th grade is about 60,000. So next year, when we open those school doors in 24-25 school year, every single student in 3rd grade through 8th grade will be participating in this, the only one in the nation that is doing this through year. We're very grateful to the federal government, grateful that there was a lot of support nationally to push a very small rural state like Montana to the top of the line with all of these things. So we've got a great team here. Any questions that you have of Crystal, jump on with an email or phone call. She'll be more than happy to share with you. And the great success for students, for teachers, for the district, but more importantly for parents to recognize student success in that classroom. So Zach, let's go ahead and take it away and wrap it up with the Indian Education for All Best Practice Conference.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Madam Superintendent. Thank you, everybody, for being here this morning. It's a beautiful day out there. So yeah, I'm just here to talk a little bit about our IFA Best Practices Conference, which is March 8th and 9th at the Billings Doubletree. And I'm going to just put in the chat. There's a link to some more information, the program. Also, if I could share my screen, I will just put the agenda at a glance up there, Brian, if that works. Yep, looks like we got it. Okay, so I need to go back here. Okay. All right. Yeah, so our theme this year is transforming education, transforming learning through Indigenous education. We're going to be, we are actually at capacity. We have over 200 registrants, but we are waitlisting people. So if there's still interest, I would encourage you to sign up and waitlist. We'll probably have a little bit of attrition. But I think we just have a great different series of offerings, whether you teach on an honor near reservation school, whether you teach in an urban school, whether you teach in a more rural school, whether you're high school, elementary, just about anything, we have something for you. And I would also highlight that this year, if you look on the far right in the blue, you'll see the IFA implementation across the content workshops workspace. So we're actually going to have just dedicated time and a spot with IFA specialists in the 4 major content areas to just help you write lessons, write curriculum, think about different things that that you might be able to do and take away from the conference that you know are actually you've developed. So that's something different that we're doing this year. We also have 2 great keynotes. We have Montana Poet Laureate from 2024, Chris Latreille, who is a Little Shell Chippewa tribal member. And we also have Nina Sanders, who's Crow, who is a nationally renowned cultural expert, has advised even the Smithsonian Museum on the American Indian. She has been a technical advisor to them. So very excited about that. And we always honor, we have a handful of folks that we're going to be honoring for their amazing work and support of IFA. And so we're really excited to just celebrate those accomplishments. I think that's always really important. But it's just a great reminder of all the work that folks are doing out there for Indian Education for All. So excited about the conference. And if I may, Superintendent, can I put a plug in for our IFA Tuesdays?
Of course.
All right, yeah. So 2 other things that we offer that are new this year. We have the first Tuesday of each month. We have what we call an Energize session. So it's from 4 to 5. You get 1 renewal unit for attending. And essentially, it's a combination of just IFA updates, different things that are going on, you know, different questions we've been fielding, you know, just giving people that information where they can find more information. New publications, new resources that we have. Then we do an activity just to engage folks. We give out little, you know, some fun little prizes just to make it, you know, everybody loves prizes, right? And then we have a space at the end for folks to ask questions. So it's another way that our team is trying to be available to the field to assist and augment, you know, sustainable IFA implementation across all subjects and grade levels. And then the 3rd Tuesday of the month, so we have one this afternoon at 4 p.m. Same Zoom link, and you can find that information on our website and also in that link that I shared. This one is IFA and Family and Consumer Science. So we have 2 retired educators from Billings who are going to be sharing ways that you can integrate IFA into that. I believe we also have art, industrial arts, also coming up in the next couple of months. And then any of the previous ones that we've done since September are recorded. So if you're an English teacher, a math teacher, a social studies teacher, you can always go back and look at those recordings. So just wanted to put a plug in for that. Those are a couple things that we're doing just to try to support folks in the field with their IFA implementation. So at this point, I would stand for any questions.
Perfect. I don't see any hands up at this point. Thank you for sharing your time with us this morning. We have great individuals here at the Office of Public Instruction that are assisting schools. And I know everyone that's on this screen here and many, many more that are very busy on this Tuesday. Also have supporting our children, our students, our families, and our schools across our state. So blessings to all of you. This will all come back to you and it's recorded. It'll be on our website as well. So enjoy the rest of your beautiful week. Thank you.